Welcome back to the 4 Power 2 Balance Tournament. This is Game 2 of the Grand Finals between Missile Knows Where It Isn't and Dad FPS and the Dial-Up Kid. Before I spoil the first game, let's go over the map. Again, this is Game 2 and we are on Scrambler. Quickly going through the teams, we have Lady Haha 89, also known as Davy, on the Advent Reborn. And we have Koi in yellow on the Advent Wrath. Both Lady Haha and Koi, I believe, were random for this game. Dr. Techman in his trademark orange on the Tech Enclave, and Yuki in the trademark pink for the Visari Exodus. So again, this is the map of Scrambler, and I've waited long enough to spoil the game, so if you haven't gone and watched Game 1 yet, I recommend doing that before I spoil it, unless you don't really care one way or the other if I do spoil it. So, spoiler alert, that Team Dad FPS and the Dial-Up Kid is up 1-0. So the map again is Scrambler, so very small map competitively as far as close jumps to homeworld. So we've got the homeworld here. Immediately off the homeworld is 2 asteroids for each player, and then 3 tier 1 planets immediately after that. In the middle, we've got 1 rich planet on the, we'll call it the Advent side, or the Dad FPS side for a crystal planet, and then 1 Ferris planet in between Techman and Yuki. Quickly on the neutral factions, because I know we get into action very quickly in this game, we have the Pirates, which is the aggressive faction for the map. So the standard boarding crew, smuggler's den, pirate wager, that's always a mouthful, and I don't think anybody gets up to 10 pirate raid points usually. We also have the Yvonne finds frigates, very rarely used due to very high costs and the ships being just light frigates. So 50 supply of ships there, and flak frigates and support cruisers. And last but not least, the Vitrak Cabal, which has the remote fabrication to build your capital ship items on the go, jump field stabilizer to help with phase inhibitors and star bases, and then remote tachyon boost if you get up to 6, very high speed boost to friendly ships in a well, and construct phase gate, which we've actually seen, I believe, used on at least 1 or 2 maps thus far. So very quickly going through the openers, Lady Haha has gone with the Progenitor Mothership. Koi has gone with the Rapture Battle Cruiser. So both fairly accepted and standard Advent starting capital ships at this point. So not the Halcyon, not the Revelation, and not the Radiance. So pretty standard opening. For Yuki, Yuki has gone with the double evacuator start, which is pretty much what he's been doing the entire tournament, so no change in gameplay for Yuki. Techman on the Enclave. Tech, like I've said in other casts, you really don't go anything other than the ACOM battlecruiser. It's just kind of too good, and the other 4 just aren't quite as good. Looks like we actually have Koi going directly on this ice planet for Yuki, while he's double expanding in both directions with a smaller force, although still effective at capturing asteroids, and probably fairly effective at taking out the ice planet if he chooses to do so. So Koi encroaching directly onto Yuki's planets at this time, and looks like Yuki has spotted it, so he's actually en route to that direction, because I think he was planning on going backwards and capturing the volcanic first and chose not to do so. So while we wait for them to engage each other, we'll look at openers. So Techman, being the Enclave, has gone for a very early garrison recruitment and tier 1, tier 2, 1 civilian and 2 military. His teammate has also gone 1-3, but has yet to go into Warfare 2 at this time. Of note, he does have the Vitra Weapons Lab over here. Looks like Koi's going to even try and poke into this asteroid maybe. Koi has gone with a fairly standard Advent opening by going for Tier 2 Economy right away. I'm sorry, Harmony first, and then grabbing the Hostility Research very quickly after. His teammate also doing a very similar opening build. So, fairly standard. Looks like Lady Haha already has 9 Disciples and 6 Tempests up. And looks like Yuki is on the way into this ice planet, and Koi has his Rapture and they high five in phase space. So he looks like a level 3 versus a level 3. And I think Koi's probably going to be on the losing end of this, even though the Evacuator is not necessarily known for killing off the larger ships. It's starting at full health, and Koi's is not. And there's a lot of hull and armor to get through on this Evacuator. So Koi, I think, does the right thing here and jumps his ship out immediately. And Yuki's just going to contest this planet, see if he can get any damage done to it, and hopefully steal it back for his side of the map. So he's going straight into bomb right now. So Rapture Battlecruiser, fairly effective for the Advent as a starting capital ship, and the main reason is usually domination, because then you can steal heavy cruisers early on in the game before everybody else has access to them, if you happen to be in a gravity well with heavy cruisers. And the Vertigo ability, when you level it up, is just very, very good for ability cooldown reduction and weapon reload reduction. And stacking psi power on it gives you extra duration, so it's a very good ability. Vengeance, not necessarily known as one of the better ones, although I've seen it a couple times and it sometimes can be quite effective. So Koi looks to not be jumping out of the gravity well at this point, and is just going to poke down at Yuki's ships. Yuki thinks better of it, moves him back. Koi also thinks better of it, and he's going to retreat his fleet. But I think the damage kind of has been done, because Yuki's only got 3 planets here, and he still has, I guess he's about to take it. So he's about to take back his ice planet, but Visari kind of needs those early planets to throw. Please don't. I'm not looking at this wrong. Extractors. I almost said excavators. To get extractors onto those planets and really crank up their income. So pretty effective, as you can see, being only 4 planets at this point, while Koi happens to be at 5 and has culture out and has a number of surface upgrades to keep his credit income topped up. His teammate looks like he's already got his 6 starting planets, so very quick on the draw there. And looks like Techman's just 1 asteroid away from keeping up with Lady Haha on this side. And Koi's going up to tier 2, or at least has the research for it as he started on it. There, now he's on his way to it. Wants the shield burst, I don't blame him. And in typical Advent fashion, really all you can afford to get in the early game is the extractors on some of these planets. You'll be kind of swimming in metal and crystal for a while, whereas credits is the one that hurts. As you can see, only 16 credits per second. Oh, looks like we have another incursion here. So Lady Haha has gone in. He is going to attempt to stop this turret, repositions his disciples in range of the other turret, so he's still taking damage. Trying to knock down this constructor before it finishes building, but did not quite get to it in time. And it looks like 1, 2, 3 turrets. Techman, I think, correctly spacing these out in the event of a revelation and the quell ability. So just kind of mentally preparing how to set up defensive structures, just because it's difficult to deal with them when they're completely shut down by Advent. And then Davey decides to sit on the edge of the gravity well here. So because Techman has set up a garrison on this volcanic and has set up a garrison on this asteroid. He effectively has 2 planets worth of garrisons that will go and fight on this volcanic for him. However, looks like he has Caleb and Garda. So Caleb, very good. So typically what I actually have seen him build is he's gone Stillet. And the Stillet play is more into Tech and Vasari. And I think the Advent play is Caleb is specific to Advent because he can get Coil Shock on all of those. And Coil Shock is very good at doing a good amount of shield damage. So that's why I think he's gone with the Caleb build. But Lady Haha is just sitting on the edge of this gravity well here with his whole fleet and is soaking experience with this progenitor mothership because essentially the garrisons are feeding free experience into this ship at the moment. So taking any advantage he can at this point to stack up on his experience. Where's Techman's fleet? Looks like he's on the volcanic. He wants the derelict, which for 3 Kalinite, I don't really blame him. Guess I don't even know what tech gets with the Kalinite. I'm not on tech. There we go. Alright, so he's got some early technologies that he could start grabbing if he gets this for his Acon. And also because it's a level 2, he's going to get 1,000 experience, which bumps him up to level 5. And almost very close to level 6. Davey just continuing to focus down this autocannon defense platform with his Tempests and his Disciples. And structures early game are difficult for Advent to deal with because they're currently a low pierce in the early game faction, and I think they kind of have to be low pierce because Tempests are so durable and the ability to fire on the move and retarget missiles instantly. You just have to be pretty careful with how much buffing these ships get. Yeah, it's got more shield than the Disciple and more hull as well. So you have to be careful with them. They're effective in their own way. Yuki's jumping in on the other end. We'll take a quick look at that. Focus firing down this lesser factory. Koi's not there though, so we'll take a look back at what Techman and Lady Haha are doing. Looks to be a similar supply, I think. Looks like Techman's up in supply. Correctly, in my opinion, fighting in the range of as many turrets as he can at this point. And it looks like Lady Haha is going to back out again and try to continue to pick off some of these Disciples. Or, I'm sorry, Kobolds. Sorry, not Disciples, Kobolds. However, there's a lot of flak here, and there's a lot of Kobolds in action. And the Calebs are starting to join, as you can see here. And those Calebs will make a very quick work out of a progenitor mothership if Davy's or Lady Haha's not careful. So he does get out, and we'll have just enough time to get over here to see Koi and Yuki starting their first major engagement. Koi is up to 24 Tempests. Yuki's got 22 skirmishers and 10 Wardens to support his fleet. Both level 5 capital ships at this point, although the scary one happens to be the Rapture, getting close to level 6. And does Koi have any defensive structures up? No, he doesn't. But he does have 3 Harkas, which will do quite well into Wardens. And Yuki decides to focus fire down this Rapture battlecruiser. He needs to be careful though, because these Tempests are just going to continue to pick things off. Yuki thinks better of it, and it looks like he's going to head out on this one, losing a bunch of Wardens in the process, so that's a bit of a shame. Looks like we have pirates out. Are pirates moving? Yeah, I see some pirates out. I don't see the galleon yet though. So one of the things that Missile Knows Where It Isn't likes to do early in the games is they like to take that first pirate raid, when nobody else is paying attention for it, and they'll throw that at the homeworld of one of the players on the opposing team just to be a major distraction. And it looks like, I think that they correctly chose the homeworld of one of the players on the other side, because the Advent basically has all of their income wrapped up into the single planet there. So if we look at just the homeworld, it's 2/3 of the credit income for Lady Haha. It is over half of the metal income and about half on the crystal income. So it's just too high value for him at this point, that if you can do any population damage to slow it down, then it's just very, very effective. Alright, so taking a quick look at some researches, Lady Haha does have the temple, has gone up to 25 plus the 10, so 35 total available culture for him. Has homeworld, has divination, has extra deserts, has the orbital congregations on a number of planets, so just doing everything he can to get that income scrolling up. But he's gonna have to start to be careful, because he's got pirates now in his homeworld. Yeah, there's the pirate galleon. Pirate galleon's here. Looks like Koi wants to try and take the crystal planet if he's able to, or at the very least take this derelict. So Lady Haha would be the quicker one if he does have the reclamation, so he would be the quicker one to capture that derelict. And it's not that strong. Some credits and some tornate, always good. So this crystal actually is causing a lot of problems for DAT FPS, because Koi now loses the ability to jump back to his volcanic planet, and Lady Haha loses the ability to jump directly to his own ice planet. So both of those fleets are kind of off their front, and as we can see here, Yuki decides to take advantage of that, and he's going to go directly into Koi's planet here on the volcanic. And it looks like where's the other evacuator? Where did he send it? It's over here, capturing the asteroid. So Koi currently does not have this defended, and Yuki's going to take some shots at it, see if he can knock down some buildings and knock down some of the planet health of population. And again, Koi got cut off because he was here trying to fight the crystal planet and the pirate galleon, but instead he's going to have to go the long way around to try to get back to his own planet. And he's got some fleet stranded on the asteroid because he doesn't want to send him in on a suicide mission. Alright, so other than this single asteroid, which has a killer exotic, that is a derelict. 2 Tornite, a Kalinite, an Endurium, and an Anvar. That's impressive. Other than that single asteroid, everything else on the map has been colonized, so we probably will start getting into some fights at this point. I saw Techman had brought his fleet over to this volcanic. And one more quick look at the map before we get started. Looks like Lady Haha has caught up with the pirates and is dealing with the pirate galleon over here. So we'll take a look at this much larger fight, I think, about to go on. Koi does have double capital ships at this point and has almost equal tempests to wardens. So we'll see how this interaction plays out. So first volleys of the tempests do get caught, and then the wardens just can't keep up with the missiles. So these missiles are going to get through, and because the wardens are moving closer to the tempest, it gives them even less time to react and point defense them. So I think Koi is just going to continue to move these back and forth. The correct play is usually to just dance back and forth on the skirmishers and let them target whatever they happen to. The whole point being, you want the skirmishers to not have the ability to fire their weapons, and because they only have like a 5-degree forward range where they can even fire their weapon, by moving around and keeping them turning, they just do less damage because they can't focus they can't get their fire to track the tempests. So Koi, in my opinion, doing the correct thing and kiting around the gravity well. Quickly looking at the map, it looks like this mothership got very, very low for Lady Haha. Does have Revelation to add though, so the pirate galleon is being captured by him at this point, and so he is just waiting for this to finish up while his tempests help deal with the derelict here. So back to this fight. Koi continuing to dance his tempests around, trying to do any free damage that they can, while also trying to thin out the wardens. But again, 27 wardens is not dealing with 20 tempests, which can only be frustrating if you're Yuki, because you basically have like equal counter in the point defense, and you have enough skirmishers, in my opinion, that you should be doing the damage. Except the problem being is, unfortunately, that the wardens just don't keep up. So he's going to have to hopefully push into oppressors in the near future and counter them that way. So it looks like Koi has decided this level 5 Rapture needs to run. We're going to quick look at the other side to see what's going on here. So Lady Haha is continuing to kite around the garrison ships on this side of the gravity well, while an Akon is bombing out the level 10 planet, and a bunch of Cobalts are focus firing on the buildings. So back over here, Yuki is bombing out the volcanic planet and continues to let Koi dance around with these tempests. Very frustrating to deal with. And he's only got 18, and I don't think I've seen him building that many more. Alright, now he's got 8 more on the way, so now he does have it, but he's also up to 4 total capital ships, added another Rapture, and finally has a Radiance on the field. Radiance is very effective with the animosity. Plasma Nova on the entire chunk of skirmishers, Gravity Warhead and Subspace Rupture on all of Koi's Tempests. Now they're actually getting, the point defense is dealing with all of their missiles. So now Koi's going to have to do a lot of work to thin out this Warden herd so that his Tempest can actually shoot through stuff. As you can see, these missiles are getting absolutely trashed, but when you're down to 13 and you've got a supply advantage on Wardens, that makes a lot of sense. Now, where is the Focus Fire? So Focus Fire is on the level 5 Rapture into Crippled Hull, but Koi's going to jump it out. And Gravity Warhead was not available, I think, so that one's going to get away kind of scot-free. And the Radiance doing a wonderful job tanking everything. Koi must have won a looting crew item. Did we miss something over here? No, we did not. Yep, looks like Lady Haha's just pushed Techman off the planet. So Koi he's doing exactly what he needs to. Level 5 Rapture did jump back in, but he is thinning out the Warden count. And once those Wardens get low enough, the Tempest missiles are going to start to actually get through. And once they get through, he's going to be in a much better position. Another Plasma Nova from the level 2 Rapture. Nope, this one's from the Radiance. Does have the animosity down on all the skirmishers and the Wardens. Wardens down to 10. So he's going to have a hard time getting through or getting out the damage. Although this is another 15 seconds of Gravity Warhead and the Focus Fire from Yuki. So Koi is going to have a first blood drawn on his capital ships. Loses a level 5 Rapture. That's the one he started the game with. So that one's going to hurt. Although Yuki is very quickly losing his sub-capitals, and it's almost 100 supply advantage for Koi at this point. Koi has had to really ramp up the Tempest production at this point. And so Yuki's down to almost 10 skirmishers and only 8 Wardens, and they're still trickling in across the gravity well. So this one, he might need to start thinking about running here. Yep, right on cue. He decided it was time to head out. And so level 1 Scrambler is in the gravity well. It has not gone Nanite Armor and has gone Repair Cloud. I think because he was so heavy into subcapitals, so it makes a lot of sense. On the other side, so we'll take a look, make sure nothing's going to go down here. It does have two very healthy evacuators at this point and has nano repair swarms, so I think these are going to be okay, just because Koi doesn't have any way of stopping the capital ships. So Techman has gone in over on the ice planet on this side. Does Lady Haha have anything set up? He does have a level 1 revelation. That's going to be rough. And 2 defense platforms. The defense platforms are good. Psionic Burst is not researched, so it's not going to do too much damage. Although this revelation is under pretty heavy threat, so he's got to be careful. And it looks like Techman's going to back off on his fleet. He's going to focus fire directly onto the laser defense platforms. Has added a level 2 Marza to the mix. So very effective ship to bomb out planets, and it looks like that's exactly what it's going to do. Although Lady Haha does have 2 points into defense at this stage of the game, and it's already level 10, so it's 5,000 planet health to get through, which is quite significant in the mid stage of this game. Not a lot of planets typically have that level of defense. Techman's got 2. I guess this is the only one Lady Haha has it on, and it looks like Koi has 1 on the crystal planet. Does he have a fleet coming in is the question. Yeah, he's going to have a full fleet. So this is a very short jump from the crystal to the ice planet here. Let's see, total supply, Lady Haha actually has slightly more if you don't count the garrison ships. I think part of the problem here is Yuki's got a little bit of a situation. I'm sorry, not Yuki. Dr. Techman has a little bit of a situation in that he only has a single garrison center there, and he doesn't have the garrison available here. So he's only got 1 defensive planet to fight in here. Level 2 Marza does take a reverie, which means he cannot move until those shields get taken down. Otherwise, the next reverie is going to stop it until shields also get taken down. So there's the takedown. There is a level 5 pirate galleon here with a level 3 twin ion bolt. So I think this Marza is in big trouble. In the background, we do see Koi jumping in, so we're going to check on that in a second to see if this Marza makes it out. It's getting low. No, this is not going to get out. There's the twin ion bolt. That's going to be stunned forever. So we'll take a look on the other side of the gravity well. Koi has jumped his entire fleet in here to try and fight into Yuki. Yuki does have 3 turrets up. Looks to be adding some more, I think. Nope, just the 3 turrets. So he's going to try and use these turrets to tank through, or to try and deal enough damage to deal with Koi's ships. Although, if I saw correctly, Koi does have a revelation. Does not have Quell yet. No, it's Reverie. There's the Quell. All of the turrets are completely turned off. And Yuki Scarantra is under heavy threat at this point. If you're fighting Visari, always kill the medics. The Scarantra is very effective. Koi has a very low level 3 Rapture though, still under the effect of Gravity Warhead for another 15 seconds. Yuki is going to lose the level 1 Scarantra in the background. Big loss for him there. And these Wardens, he doesn't have any damage left because all he has is Wardens. Rapture gets focus fired and dropped. So there are 3 oppressors around, but because Koi has so many Raptures, he just gets to steal them away for free. And so 28 Wardens is really not going to be able to deal with 51 Tempests. And so Yuki's just kind of run out of damage. And he's, I think, rightfully frustrated that he can't point defense the Tempests down. So looks like he's more, he just wants to type. I don't think he's building much. Yeah, he's not trying to build too much at this point. And he can't build the turrets because of Quell, so there's very, very little that can be accomplished here for him. And so I think he's just typing this one out. So we'll take a look at the other side, because Lady Haha and Techman have gone and done their own fight on this side. Techman's got a lot of Harkas out by this point, 15 Harkas by my count. And the Tempests from Lady Haha are quite plentiful, so they'll just continue to shoot at anything that they are allowed to, because 360-degree firing arc is quite effective, as it is also on Harkas, so it makes sense for that as well. So Harkas dealing with animosity, so they're just going to focus fire directly at this Radiance battleship, and it tanks very, very well. Does have the shield battery, so he's tanking through with regen shield. He does have structural force field to keep it with that much more hull points, and the Plasma Nova when able to with the animosity. And he's trying, Techman is trying his best to deal with this Tempest Ball. And Harkas do great damage. Pirate Galleon actually is the biggest threat though, so he's trying to focus fire that down. And it's not looking great for Techman either. Again, because he's only got a single garrison on the back line, and I know it was a late garrison build, so he doesn't have that much else going from this planet. Koi definitely, so Lady Haha up to 995 fleet. Techman's only at 344, so this is unfortunately for him, it's more of a supply issue at this point. And so Lady Haha is just going to eventually get through these. He's going to focus fire a level 3 coal battleship. That's going to go down. Tech ships not as effective when they don't have armor. Does have the level 6 Acon here. I'm surprised the Armistice hasn't come out, just to maybe give them a little bit more time to build some ships. Good game is called by Yuki and Dr. Techman. And Yuki does want pizzas delivered to Lady Haha. So Koi, I know, wanted pizzas too, but unfortunately no pizzas for him. So that I think is the game. And that would be the end of game 2, where now the score is 2 for Dad FPS and the Dial-Up Kid, and 0 for Missile Knows Where It Isn't. Tempest just gotta find a way to counter him. That's the hard part. Alright, quickly looking at the combat. So I think the first fight, let's see, I think it was like right about here where Yuki was fighting into Koi, and Yuki was trying to build the Wardens up to fight the Tempests, and Koi was building both capital ships and Tempests, and Wardens just don't cut it versus Tempests, which it makes me sad. They're the same supply. I always want them to be pretty equal on footing, because Wardens do almost no damage otherwise. So Yuki took that kind of brutal loss in Koi's planet, and then was attempting to try and build back up, but Koi just had too much going for him at that point. And then the fight started on Yuki's planet, where he just didn't quite have the structures up, and Koi had the revelation to essentially neuter all of those structures anyway. And then it was just a tough fight for Yuki. He just wasn't able to build ships back up and deal with the Tempest. And then, as you can see here, Lady Haha also in a similar position, almost double the supply of Dr. Techman at this point, and then fought into the volcanic planet, and then just continued to reinforce from there. So tough game for Missile Knows Where It Isn't. Hopefully for game 3 they can regroup and we can have a wonderful 5-game series. So that has been game 2, and we'll see you for game 3.